Hello everyone. Today I thought we would do an art project using the black ink the black ink or black paint that we made when we put the dried out marker into some water. Now this has been sitting in my kitchen for maybe about 4 days, and what happens is the water evaporates a little bit, and I think it makes the ink or the paint or the color stronger. So you can see that I painted a picture using this, we'll call it paint now, and it's quite dark gray, which is pretty cool. So I thought today we would paint this little bunny using no paint. We're going to use a marker for the gray that's been sitting in water for a few days and getting all the pigment out of the marker into the water, and a marker for the pink on the ears. So what you'll need today is a black marker for outlining. You can draw with a pencil or you can draw with your marker. There's one part that I'm going to draw only with my pencil, and I'll show you why. You'll need a paintbrush, and then you can have some paint from your marker and another washable marker here. So let me find a clean page. That one, the paint went through a little bit, so we won't use that one. Let's get started on a nice clean page. And I raised my camera up on a couple of boxes here, so it's way higher, so that I can have my paper going the hot dog way, not the hamburger way, so that you can see the full bunny. So I'm gonna disappear. Bye. And we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to do, remember, we need the head here, and the ears are going to come up higher. So the nose is going to be a little bit lower on the paper than you would normally do it. So to start with the nose, I'm just going to do a little V. And then I'm going to do the same thing that we did. What animal was it? Oh, it was for the lion. We did a J this way and a J that way. And that's our nose and our mouth. Now, I am not going to draw the head with my marker, and you'll see why in a second. But I'm going to kind of do a potato shape. Not a perfect circle, kind of an oval. Ooh, my pencil is not very sharp. Can you see it? Kind of go around the head. Kind of a potato shape. It does not have to be perfect. And the reason I did it with pencil first was because look where his eyes are going to go. His eyes are going to overlap the line. Do you see the line there? If I had drawn that in marker, it would have gone right through his eye, and we don't want that. And then another eye on this side. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace that line so you can really see it with my black. And I can go around one eye like that and keep going around the head, and another eye like that. Okay? Now, if my pencil had an eraser, I would erase those lines, but I'm not too worried. Let's draw the pupil. So I'm going to do a big black circle in the middle of that one. I want his pupils to be quite big. And a big black circle in the middle of that one. And then let's do our trick where we make the eyes look a little bit shiny. You don't have to do this, but I like to. Add a little bit of white at the top, looking off in the same direction. And then I'm going to color in the rest of the pupil black. Let's see if they look even. They look pretty good. Now I'm going to draw a little kind of a curvy line on the top of my nose, and I'm actually going to color my nose in black too with a Sharpie. If you're using washable markers like this kind, Crayola, you don't want to color it in now, because when you put the paint over top or the water over the top, it's going to move. So if you have a permanent marker and you're allowed to use a permanent marker, do it now. If you don't, save the marker until the very end when all the paint is dry. Okay, let's do our bunny's shoulders. So I'm just going to come kind of where the neck would be, and I'm just going to do a curvy line to the bottom that way, and a curvy line to the bottom that way. We don't have to worry about legs or feet or tails or anything because we're just doing the top part of the shoulders and the head. Doesn't look like a bunny yet, does it? So we need some ears. I'm going to have one ear that's up and one ear that flops. So for the up ear, I'm just going to go until I run out of paper and curve back around, kind of like a big oval. And then for the floppy ear, I'm going to go up, and I'm going to curve down and curve back up and curve back down. And then I've got my ears. Now there's always a little soft part on the inside. So I'm going to do a skinnier shape inside. And I'm going to do that same thing over here inside. Oh, and he needs whiskers. So I'm just going to come from the side here. 1, 2, 3. I start here and go out like whiskers would grow. 1, 2, 3. And I've got my whiskers on my bunny. And that is my bunny all drawn. Now, I'm going to show you how I painted him because I think that's kind of where the magic happens. So again, I used the ink from my washable marker and a paintbrush. I'm just going to move it closer in case I drip because I didn't put anything down on the table. So I'm just going to dip into my paint or my water that has ink in it, and I'm going to paint. Now it's going to be darkest right away. See how dark that? Wow, look how dark that is. So I'm going to move it around and spread it all over his body. I want his body to be quite dark gray. So I'm using it full strength, not adding any more water. But I'm going to do a trick on his face when I want it to be a little bit lighter. I'm also going to use it full strength on the outside of his ears. So I'm going to carefully fill in the outside of the ears. But I'm going to do the inside of the ears pink with my other marker, and I'll show you that in a minute. So a little bit more paint. Do you see that I didn't dip in that whole time? I just used what was on my brush because it's really, really dark and pigmented now. It's got lots of color in it because that marker has been sitting in there for so many days. I do need a little bit more. I didn't dip quite as much there. So I'm just filling in around the ears. Okay, now this is the trick that I did on my other bunny. I wanted the middle of my bunny's face to be lighter gray than the rest of his face. So this is what I did. Can you see that I just have clear water here? So I just dipped into the clear water. Now it's going to look a little bit dirty because my brush was dirty, but watch. I'm just going to put clear water right in the middle. You can see it's just here around his, maybe even up into his head. And now I'm going to dip into my blackish color and, oh, don't go on his eyes. Go around his eyes. Do you see how the color starts to blend in a little bit? So when I touch the edges of that wet part, the dark gray goes in, but it doesn't make it too dark. It just blends a little bit, making it look kind of interesting. Can you see it kind of blend in? And when it dries, it will look so cool. So I'm just kind of touching that edge, but I'm not painting there. I'm just touching it with the edge of my wet brush with my black. I'm going all the way to the edges, and then I'm going to let that dry. It's so tempting to want to get in there with your brush and add a little bit of color, but I'm going to try not to. I'm just going to make sure that I just touch where the edges are so that it blends in together. Okay, so I'm going to clean off that brush. I'll just leave it in my water for a minute. Now, to do the pink of the ears, I'm just going to make sure I have a washable marker. Remember we talked about this last time, a washable marker, which means when you add water, it'll move the color. And I'm just going to color in that section. And I'm not trying to be perfect because I'm going to put water on top of it and move it around a bit. Now right now, it looks okay. I don't mind it with just marker. I could leave it like that. but I do want this picture to look like it's been painted. So I'm going to take my brush. Do you notice what I did there? I just got off all the drips on the side of my... Here, I'll bring it closer so you can see. I just get it wet and then get most of the drips off. And then I'm just going to rub that pink. Now it won't look like much yet, but as we know, it'll start to move. Actually, it does start to look more like paint, doesn't it? See how this one looks like I've colored with marker? And this one looks like I've colored with paint. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Rub it. It's okay if it blends into the gray a little bit because it's all fur, so you kind of want it to look like it belongs together. And really, that is my bunny all finished. And what we need to do before we finish is we need to print the word. We could print bunny or we could print rabbit. So maybe we'll do both. On this side we'll do bunny. Bun. This one oh, that's gonna roll. Sorry. I'm gonna put it up there. Bunny has two N's together. Bun. I gotta hold it. Bunny. Here's a Y. A Y dips down into the dirt. Bunny. And we could also print rabbit. So if we want to print rabbit, let's do it down here. Oh, bunny rabbit. Where should I put it? Right here. Here's rabbit. And this one has a double letter too. Rab-bit. Rabbit. Bunny, rabbit. So it depends on what word you want to print for yours. And there you have it. We painted a picture using absolutely no paint, and we were able to make use of a marker that would have normally just gone into the garbage or into the recycling bin, and we gave it a little bit more time to be used, which is pretty cool. So I hope you have fun drawing your bunny rabbit and painting it. If you don't have a dried out marker, you can use regular paints, you can use crayons, you can use markers, just about anything you want to color with. I'm sure your bunny will look beautiful. So there you go. Have some fun. I'm going to give you a wave goodbye. Where am I? There I am. Have a great day. Happy drawing and painting. See you soon.